Greetings, sunshine. How are you? Just want to check in since the last video. I know a lot has been going on with people. I've been getting lots of DMs and emails and questions about what is going on with the energy and why are they feeling the way they are feeling. And so I just kind of wanted to do a quick talk on about authenticity because I know people are feeling inauthentic and it's driving them crazy and they're trying to figure out why. Um, because being inauthentic means you're disconnected from your higher self, your best self, your true self. You know, your passions, your goals, your dreams, the purpose that you were meant to fulfill here on this planet during this lifetime. And that leads people into what we call a dark night of the soul. And so I'm going to be referencing notes because I want to make sure I hit points because I want to support as much as possible. I want to demystify and simplify what's going on. Hopefully, I can give you some shortcuts, some things that I personally experienced that I wish, if I had some different information, I could have went around it, sort of, kind of. But your experience is your experience. You own time. It's nothing to fix. Nothing's wrong. It is what it is, and it is a process. So just let's start with that, right? May feel horrible at times, but that's a part of the process because it's pushing you so far up against the wall that you're having to question everything. And I'll talk about that too because that's one of my main things about what's going on right now. It is time for you to question everything in your life, every detail, from top to bottom, A to Z. I don't care how long it's been in your life. I don't care how familiar it feels. I don't care how comfortable it feels. It's time to question everything to get to the root and uncover some stuff. So I'm saying that to say I know a lot of people are experiencing dark night of the soul, which I did as well some many years ago. And I didn't know that's what it was called or it was a thing. So that's why I know it is a process and it is a part of our life journey. So it's consistent with everyone if you really are trying to go deep within yourself. But anyway, essentially, Dark Night of Soul, it's like when you hit a wall, hit the ceiling, and you just, like I said, you over the hustle matrix, you don't like people, you overall dissatisfied or not feeling fulfilled. You're critical of everything, and then you're harsh on yourself. And how did I get here? Lots of regrets, and you feeling stuck, bored, like you're abandoned by God or your higher self or source or creator, whatever it is that you call it. Um, and basically, also on the other side, you're starting to remember parts of yourself that you suppressed, oppressed, that you've hidden, that you were embarrassed about. Because we do live in a world where we're taught and indoctrinated to conform and be homogenous and all be one thing versus who we truly, truly are and how we were really created to be our unique self with our own self expression, our own contribution down here on this planet. And that's where the dark night of the soul really starts to get ugly because a lot of us have lived life for a very long time going against our own rhythm and flow and grain and DNA and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Because you're trying to fit in with your family, trying to fit in with your friends, you're trying to fit in with the job, you're trying to conform, to do the right thing and do the thing that's comfortable and it pushes us into survival mode, and that's not thriving. Surviving is not the same thing as thriving in your life. You can survive in material goods and possessions and money, but what about thriving in your life? And your life is your heart, it's your soul, it's your spirit. That's really what life is about. All the other stuff is just to help us facilitate the spiritual life, but we flipped it and we've been taught otherwise. Because this is a mind game. Let me back it up. Everything is about mind and mental, right? So how you have been approaching life is based on what you have programmed within yourself. And unfortunately, we understand that we've been indoctrinated with our educational system and how our economics and religions and all this other stuff before we were able to really learn who we are and why we are even existing in the first place. And so I know a lot of you all have felt like the black sheep, cycle breakers, loners, neurodivergence. They've been calling you ADD or autistic or empaths and introverts and, all that stuff. And what it is because you know, and have always known, there is something else that is supposed to be happening on this planet with your life. And when you try to be yourself, talk about stuff that just didn't seem to fit what the norm was, you fit in to get in. We all conform to some extent. Not everyone, but a lot of people, in and out. Like, well, okay, let me just do this for a minute just because I just need to survive. We get back into that. Versus honoring who we really are. So back to being on the dark night of the soul, like I said, you're just starting to remember parts of yourself that you have forgotten or you suppressed, and it makes you feel miserable. It makes you want to disconnect and isolate, which makes sense because now you're seeking and searching, which is where exactly you're supposed to be. Going within and going to whatever source that you call it, like I said, God, creator, higher self, spirit, universe, whatever you call it for yourself, because there is not a being. Again, it's all energy, electromagnetic. We're electromagnetic beings. It's all energy. The whole universe is energy. Everything is just is energy. This is just slowed down in the 3D slow version. So it seems like we can actually touch and feel and whatever. But at the end of the day, we're vibrational. That's including thought forms, vibrational, emotions, vibrational. So we are alchemists, and that's a part of you're feeling powerless in that you're disconnected to who you really are. So you're feeling powerless in this realm, this earth life, this experience right now, because you feel like you come to a wall and like, well, what okay, what else, what and like you don't have a power to do anything, and you do. And that's why you are experiencing the dark night of the soul, because it's getting you to a point where it's like, yay, they're asking about something else. They want to know who they really are. Oh my God, they want to know what their power is. And this is where you are. And it feels ugly because we've been operating under oppression, depression, anxiety, like I said, survival mode, hatred, war, crime, abuse, narcissism, just a whole bunch of negative. And then we incorporate that in our lives. We start taking it on as that's a part of our identity, because it may be our mother, it may be our father, our families, our friends, our community, our whatever. If they say it and they're doing it, it must be true. And then you incorporate it and you start fixing your life around this identity to appease everyone else, or like I said, just to fit in, or just to survive, or to get along, or so you don't feel abandoned, or so you don't feel lonely. And now is the time. People are tired of that. I know you're tired. So basically, you're out of autopilot. We all got to a point where we didn't even realize it, but we were on autopilot. You watching TV, they tell you what to buy, they tell you what to eat, they tell you what time to do, time to go to bed. Here's a holiday. Oh, you're supposed to spend your money on this particular day, spend this and buy these particular gifts because the date on the calendar. I'm not really that person, but I do understand. I live in this world where it's like people are on this autopilot, and because someone else has set up a system, it's like they just automatically respond. And then if we can't respond and buy and spend the money that we can't, that we don't have, then we're miserable and we're depressed, and then we're feeling bad, and oh, our family, and you don't love me because you didn't buy this and that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please stop. So, and that being said, we're in being inauthentic, because again, we're not in our own natural rhythm and our natural flow, because most of us have not taken the time to figure out what that is. We need to break our attachments to, in our addictions to the material world, to the physical world. Again, I'm saying with balance and temperance, it's not like we don't need it in this 3D. Need it. But however, we have put our priorities out of order, where we stop nurturing and cultivating our inner community, our inner selves, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, most importantly, right? Because we are spirits, light beings in a physical body, meant to come here and create and do stuff and be all impressed with each other because I'm creating stuff to make your life better and you doing that, and then we giving back to the earth, and then she feeding us and watering us for free and free energy, like, because we are the currency, we are the energy. But again, we got away from that. So what do we do in the meantime? So we sit there, we get upset ourselves, we get mad at the system, at the politics, we watching the news, and we just get more and more anxious. And so now is the time people to stop and start doing what we call shadow work. And shadow work, long story short, because I'm going to do a whole nother video on this, it's just, again, a time where you're going to question everything. It's your limiting beliefs, your patterns, your behaviors, your cycles, your traditions, your relationships, your outlook on stuff, your spiritual path, your career path, your relationship with money, relationship with yourself. How do you see life? The decisions you made, like, what were they really based on? Why do you think what you think? And, like, is it appropriate for now in 2024 in your life? So just because it's been going on for a long time doesn't mean it has to continue. You just haven't stopped to reevaluate. And that's why a lot of people are feeling inauthentic and just really miserable, because they haven't stopped to reevaluate, to reroute, to rewrite stuff, because they're too afraid to either look at the truth and look at their reality, or they just don't know to do it. Or, because I've had this, and I think I said this on the last video, I've had people who have made some major shifts in their life, but they're either keeping it secret because they don't know how to be that with their family, because they still live in the same house, and they, with their maid or whoever, or their kids or their grandmother, whatever, and they don't think their family's going to believe them. And some of them, their family don't support them because it automatically triggers their family members. And I've had this in just in life. Like, when you're doing something different, people get triggered, and it's like, okay, but it ain't got nothing to do with you, though. You ain't got to change if you don't want to, but don't hold me back. So I'm just saying that to say that I know you want to do some things. I know you want to make some changes, and sometimes you have to detach from people. Just like, sometimes you have to do that. So back to the shadow work in particular, it is just getting a new and more realistic perspective on how you're actually operating in life. Because at the end of the day, everything I'm saying is an inside job. Only you can do what you need to do for you, because only you know how you feel on the inside. Your spirit only talks to you. Only you can take action on the things that you want to do. Only you can manifest, and it's mental, that's why I'm doing this. Only you can manifest what you need to manifest for yourself, because it's an inside job. Although we are individual, we are as one collective, but individually, you have your own connection to your higher self, which is ultimately to source on what to do, when to do, how to do. And it basically, because there is not a God like you worshiping and that you asking them, and please bless me. No, this is what I'm doing. Bless me and assist me and lead me and guide me down the best path, since you have a higher vision and a broader perspective on how I can get there, is how our guides and our spirits and our ancestors help and assist us in the thing that we have chosen to do. So that's why we have the spectrum of what we like to call good and bad, right or wrong, up and down, because you can do a lot of different things, but you choose, you get to choose where on this spectrum you want to be, right? So I'm saying that to say, it's time to question everything so that you can reevaluate. And a lot of times, and most of the times, in 99.9% of the time, it's going to come back to you. You did it to yourself, because what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're speaking, how you're vibrating is what manifests itself. So even if you don't believe, let's say this, trauma bonding, you've experienced trauma, mama issues, abuse issues, or whatever, and then you look up and you realize a lot of your friendships are based around trauma issues, your trauma bond, abuse things. It's energy, even if you never even spoke on it, because that's the frequency that you're vibrating. That's the frequency that you're sending out. So hence and therefore, that's what you're resonating. People with that same kind of mindset or that same kind of frequency of those kind of experiences, until you decide to reroute, redefine, look at it, not claim it as something that is yours, right? So having to basically have an ego death, because your ego holds on to an identity that you programmed it to have to feel safe or to have this personality. So how you show up in the world. So people, when she walks in the room, oh, I know who she is, because that's the script that you wrote, right? And so a lot of people are victims. We got a lot of victimhood. I went through that a long time. I was like the strongest victim I know. We judge a lot, we're critical, but then we realize we're really criticizing ourselves, really judging ourselves. And this was something you experience as you go through your shadow work. Again, it's going to keep coming back to you and how you're treating yourself. Although other people may be doing it to you, it's because that's the energy you're projecting. So they're going to give you back what you're putting out. So if you're acting like a victim or someone, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to pick up on real energy either. So like a lot of empaths, you are abused or they walked on, people think you're slow or like you just don't get it. And it's like, it's not that. It's like, we're strong actually. And I don't have to be jacked up like you and treat people like you. So we just kind of like, okay, I ain't gonna say nothing this time. But then when we do say something, we shut that shit down. So because we see it already, we feel it, and it was like, oh, okay, they stupid enough to think we're that stupid. And then we look like we stupid, and then we just keep going looking like we stupid until enough is enough, and then we shut that bad boy down, right? Oh, sorry about shaking it, but I'm dramatic like that because that's what we do. And then they're sitting there wondering like, well, what did I do? I was only doing what was always, because we allowed it forever until we shut it down. So I'm saying that's an example of shadow work, of looking at different areas in your life, all of them, questioning it, journal, meditate on it. How do you think about what do you think about that? How did that belief even come up? Is it appropriate now in 2024? Is it appropriate for the path that you want to be on? And don't be worried about if it's going to offend other people. This is your life. This is something that you have to do for your life, right? Let me go over the things that I like to call, because this is something that I had to do, and it helped me so much. I want to say my phone said it need. Okay, I got a little time. During this process, and you really looking at who you are, so you can make some shifts and change, because the energy has changed. Divine feminine energy is back. We're going to talk about all this on other videos, because that patriarchal system, like I said, of fear and oppression and robbing people of their energy and being destructive and, instead of constructive and inclusive and, making sure everyone is okay, that's gone. But what you need to do, or I suggest, because these are things that I did, when I finally was like journaling and questioning myself, like I said, about money and relationships, and like, oh my God, okay, this is really stuff I was doing to myself. And of course, that's why people were responding a certain way, because I was mentally feeling something about myself that was not true after you get through doing the work. But trying to stay safe, trying to keep the peace, and whatever your reasons are of you just selecting and choosing the identity that you're working with, right? So some of the things that helped me to put my reality in perspective, in a healthy perspective, and I'm going to say it as a list and I'll go through it. I had to decolonize, I had to depersonalize, I had to religiouscize. Let's say that. I'm making up some shit right now. De-Hollywood-size. I had to de-emotionalize, de-psychologicalize, de-romanticize, and de-victimize. And I mean exactly that. I had to decolonize, meaning not look at all this stuff under the framework of capitalism and what I'm supposed to do and the way I was taught in school and like go to school, get a job, no, we don't. Our world is not even linear. We live in a world and we're gonna talk about this, is energy. So us trying to move like this, some people can and it works, but everyone is not made for this one linear step after step. That's not reality. That's not how we were created. And it's torture when we make people do that. We call them ADD and autistic and all this other stuff, which is ridiculous. Just because you want to sit in that building with them fluorescent lights burning your brain up, and because you can function like that, some people cannot function like that. People don't realize that we're energy and vibration and frequency. So all these sounds and frequencies and signals and lighting, this stuff is affecting people literally. We're all not the same. And then as soon as someone cannot function in the thing that works for you, we want to make them wrong. And then categorize them and compartmentalize them and give them a label in the name of something. Stop it, please. Okay, so I digress. So, depersonalize. This was huge for me. Because I had carried this story about some folks in my life, family, but particular family, forever, right? Left, ain't been around for 30 some years, like in general, just like, and long story short, in my inner pilgrimage over this last year and a half, which has been going on longer, but I've been here for a year and a half, meaning my hometown. I don't know why I like doing that, but hometown. I had to depersonalize. I had to walk into situations and realize, that was going on since before I was born. Oh, that did go on when I was young, but I made up a story about it because no one else told me anything different. So I went with the story that I had to come up with that made the most sense at the time. And I never changed the story. So it was just a story that I just rolled with for a long time, because at the end of the day, I had a life. I love my life. My life was, living la loca, golden, and all that stuff at times. And then I would have that thing pop up on me. Then I had to go back to that story to justify why I was feeling what I was feeling in the current time based on this old story. Long story short, come back to 2022, 2023, and it was like, let me depersonalize all this and let me look at it from a different perspective. It ain't had nothing to do with me. It's been going on whether I was here or not. All them years I had that stuff in my head. It was misunderstandings, misinterpretations. It was and what am I trying to say? The comprehension of a person who was either ignorant to, all the pertinent information, or just because of the age, your childhood mentality, that kind of thing. That was huge. It was huge to depersonalize and look at situations for what they were like. Oh, they haven't had anything to do with it. But because, again, the colonization and the programming that we have about family and titles and roles and what a mother is and what a father is and what a daddy is. I mean, what a sister is and what community is, what a family. Like, we have all these rules that cannot be homogenous. It's just not even realistic. And it makes us miserable, right? Like I said, religious Hollywood, emotional, all that. And the reason why I say that, because we have TV versions in our head. We have movie versions of how stuff's supposed to come out. Take that off when you're looking at your situation. Take off the psychological part of it. It was helpful for a time to be able to have these, we got the ego and the super ego and the id and the this and these and the narcissist and the, those are still very helpful through this process, but don't get so attached to them, because again, that's just another addiction and attachment to justify, and it doesn't get you through the thing. And keep in mind, if you need to go get a therapist, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do it. Do it. I'm saying just when you're doing your own process, don't get so attached and addicted to needing a label of what this thing is. Don't call it nothing. Just look at everything for what it is, right? And then look at it from, what is it your real desires are? How is this really fitting in your real life? Is it really affecting you? Is that really what you meant? Is that really what you want? Oh, I don't. So then you can make some adjustments, right? Same thing about romanticizing and being a victim of stuff. Like we like to romanticize our relationships with everything, and sometimes it ain't even that. Because I know a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, they've been doing something every year, all the time," and then when they really start thinking about it, they realize it was just because it was on the calendar, or they didn't want to disappoint someone. So they just kept doing whatever the thing is, or being whoever they thought they needed to be, right? Um, so doing that process while you're looking, like I said, at your limiting beliefs, your patterns, your cycles, traditions, your judgments, your dogmas, your habits, your outlook, your relationships with yourself and others, your mindset, your beliefs, the paradigms, the framework, your perceptions and constructs, the stuff that you really, how you've been operating the world. Look at all of it, throw it against the wall, step by step. Don't try to do it all at one time, because some stuff gonna break you down when you realize how mean you've been to yourself, how unloving and how impatient you've been with yourself, and then you put it out there and project it on other people and made it like they were doing it to you. Now they may have been doing it to you, but it was based on how you taught them to do it, right? And then there are some situations, don't get me wrong, so I'm not going to belittle, people who are around narcissists or abusive piece of people. They just being assholes. But why do you continue to be around them, though? That's still another question, right? So right now it's time to level up your self-concept, level up your self-image, so you can get back to your authentic self. Your authentic self is your higher self. Your higher self is your spiritual self. Your spiritual self is your energetic self. Your energetic self is your innate self that was created from source, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, in this physical body. Yes, we're not on anybody else's timeline. We're not on anybody else's path. We're not on anybody else's back to the de-religionized, the moral thing. There are no morals. That's just something made up. So keep in mind, everything's made up. So make up your own version. Just don't be an asshole. That's all. That's basically at the end of the day, when we get through with all this, make up your own version. If you want to be happy and passionate and creative and do all that stuff, as long as you're not being destructive and being an asshole. We just got a whole bunch of assholes down here, right? So that's not your fight, though. Do you, because you can only do you. And that does start with changing your self-concept, your self-image. It all starts with your subconscious. What are we telling ourselves in our subconscious? And it's something that, because I know for a long time I hated myself. I felt like I was unlovable. There's a whole story behind it. It was a whole fucking story. So even no matter how successful, here I go again, successful I was, or if I was on TV, I was on a commercial, I was on the billboard, or I was doing whatever fabulous vacation, everything I touched turned to gold. But every once in a while, literally everything I touched turns to gold, right? But every once in a while, that thing would, it was like a possession. And I had to do the work to get that off of me. And again, it was just something that I created in a younger, in a different time. And I never really got rid of it because I didn't really understand that we're energy. Thought forms are energy. Concepts are energy. Everything is energy. And energy can be cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transformed or alchemized. And not on this video, we can talk about it, but this is a whole, and I'm gonna have some experts on here talking about this whole energetic thing in the spiritual world, because we're electromagnetic beings, right? And every thought is a vibration, and it's out there, and it doesn't go away. It may come back to you, or it may filter to someone else. Because have you ever sat around and you be like, damn, that's a good idea. That's because somebody had the idea, but they didn't take heed to it or necessarily, and it floated to you and it came to you. I'm telling this energy game, because I've been studying the quantum physics, the metaphysics, the quantum science. This is what we are, what we really are, and how we really operate and how we really manifest is incredible. And it is so simple. I see why we were indoctrinated out of it. And then they're using our technology, right? Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But all that to say that with the self concept, most of us are living in the past, and we keep reliving the past, and we're trying to outrun the past, and we're thinking we're running towards something when really we just don't want to keep doing reliving a trauma or reliving a failure or some moments in our lives, or not feeling worthy enough, or not valuable, or we have something to offer. That's not the same thing as living for your life. That's just trying to outrun it, right? And so unfortunately, we've even gotten addicted to negativity and or meaning living in a negative life. Look at TV. Everything's about insuring your house, insuring your car, and taking this medicine just in case you don't get this, and always protecting yourself versus putting yourself in a powerful, superior position where it doesn't matter what happens, it's happening around me. It is what it is. And that's what your spiritual journey is about. Getting to that neutral place. Like, yeah, I see that and I see that. Ain't got nothing to do with me. And if I get involved, where do I want to be involved? And mostly being neutral about it. Because people don't realize, again, because we're energy, everything is energy. So just like when we're watching the news, I don't do it, but watching the news, then you stop watching the news. Then you go talk to someone on the phone or texting or go to the internet, and we're commenting about what happened on the news, war or abuse or whatever, or violence. You're feeding that beast by talking about it because you're giving it energy. And your attention, where attention and focus goes, that's where energy flows. And then that's why we got this. That's why, they say where two come together in agreement, you can shut some stuff down, right? And alchemize some stuff and transform some stuff for the good, right? So just be careful about where you're putting your attention to. You may have to put the phone down and the devices and the news, and even, like I said, some people while you're going through your process. The traumas, let's talk about this real quick. Trauma, whatever it may have been, because I'm not going to trigger anyone right now, but you know what your traumas could be. It could be from big to small, small to big. They're all the same, because what happens is untapped and stuck emotions, they become toxic within the body, right? And that's what becomes inflammation. And then inflammation eventually turns into a disease. And then, you try to take medications or cancers or whatever, and then you have to get the chemos and whatever. And you got aches and pains and mental, illnesses and what they call chemical imbalances. Because a lot of it is a lot of trauma and hurt and disappointment and shame and fear that just never got processed because you don't have healthy relationships, or you didn't have a healthy process in getting those emotions out. But it is in your body. I remember as a kid, I would get these little pockets of phlegm, I guess, excuse me. But now as an adult, because I'm like, try to be healthy and aware about what's going on with the body, I can see those were so many moments of emotional things that I had to suck up. Because I didn't cry until I was like 30 years old, just so y'all know, right? Because I was not to have like emotions and feelings, right? Okay, but that's a whole nother, okay, we'll talk about that later. So I'm saying that to say that I was now able to go back over this last year and like, oh, that's what that was. Because it would be like a knot. And then I would just do something, and then until it came out, and I know it sounds disgusting, but that's what's happening in your body right now, y'all. And then stuff start calcifying because you're not moving it or whatever. And then you get the scar tissue, and then you limping or your arm, and you get the rotator cuff, like all these things, because we got all this toxicity and misery and pain and all this stuff so you got to do an emotional detox and stop trauma bonding. Yeah, just because it feels good. Trust me, I was the queen of it. Oh, I was the queen of it, thinking I'm all like, we bonding and we gonna all heal together. No, sometimes you just gotta not talk about that stuff no more. And a lot of the trauma bonding I was able to see was strictly energetic, because we never talked about any of the things that we all came from in our background. And it wasn't until like 20, 30 years later, and it was like, really, that happened? So it's energy. our vibration which brought us together. We never ever talked about any of the traumas and the dramas. We were in a whole different creative life, dancing, singing on stage, performing, doing some other stuff. Never talked about that stuff. And then 20, 30 years later, it'd be like, oh, so it's energy, right? We were all, I guess, at a different phase of we were overcoming, trying to get past certain traumas and, dramas, and put, all put it into some creative outlets. Energy, resonance, oh my God, my phone gonna go off. So I'm saying that to say also, PTSD, shame, all that comparison, abandonment, you gotta learn how to process that out. And again, I'm gonna post some videos on how to do, energy, well, more specific, I gotta say, emotional detox and purging. Just know that you're not alone. I know it feels scary and tired, and you just want to be okay and normal, and then all this other stuff going on in the world. Don't add that part on it, because it's just, I know my light's going down, my phone going off. I got all kinds of situations right now, but I just need to get this video out. Work with me. Thank you. I got my laptop, so we got some light, right? So I'm gonna wrap it up shortly because I don't want my phone to go out. But I do want you to know that these things that are going on with you, these feelings, emotions, and questions, and doubts, and fears, and feeling alone, and just keep journaling, keep meditating. You can text me. Email me or DM me if you want, and I can just be there for you. But just stay mindful. It's a process. It's a process that's been going on for eons. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It's not personal. It's not a punishment. This is life. Those movies like The Matrix and The Wizard of Oz and all, they are documentaries. So you are on point in this process. It seems crazy, like a crazy game, but it is what it is. And that's what you're going to have to get down to when you start looking around like, damn, everything it is what it is. And if you start approaching it from that perspective and not making it personal and taking your power back and saying, I can live my life the way I want to live it on my own terms, and y'all keep doing what you're doing, it starts getting better. It's going to be another process because all this other stuff, we've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it for so long. It's like trying to deconstruct this whole paradigm I had forever, right? Hold on, I gotta go get my charger. Hold on, y'all. I'm here. I really am. I'm here. Here I am. All right. I had to go get my charger because I said I was gonna be wrapping up, but I want to say a couple more things. Anyway, so so stay mindful that it is a process. You're not doing anything wrong, but you are gonna have to dedicate some time and energy to your emotions, to your life, to your love, to your heart, to taking care of you, figuring out what it is, what's going on, and don't judge yourself. Be gracious. Forgive yourself when stuff pop up, and then you're going to have to realize, I'm all of that. Don't try to deny any of it. You got to integrate it and accept it, just like you want God to accept you because you are God incarnate. Again, we got a lot of videos coming up. That's why he don't jump in when you're doing something stupid and when you're doing something great. It's just like, that's what you're doing. He's allowing. He's just allowing you free will. So now you got to do the same thing with yourself. Remember that movie, It's a Wonderful Life? And he went through the life thing and then like Scrooge. That's what we're going through, y'all. Literally. It's not a judgment of some God at the end. No, you judging yourself. That's really what this is about. Like the judgment is you. Everybody in this individual, everybody on their own timeline. So just because you're doing it, don't mean your cousin, your husband, whatever, your auntie, your mom, and them doing the same thing. This was about you because you came here on your own little path, right, at your own time. So you just got to be really mindful of your self-talk, your subconscious. You can even go on YouTube and do mantras and get, subliminal messages, because you got to start like paying attention, like, oh my God, I do say that to myself underneath. about money or relationship or something. And you may not even realize it, but now is the time to do the work. You got to undo a whole bunch of stuff. We got to break some spells, y'all. It's time to break the spell. And at the end of the day, don't get mad. Like I said, you got to forgive yourself. Then you're going to start forgiving others, because ain't no sense of wasting your time with that. And I was going to get into that in this video. I want to demystify and simplify with the whole spiritual awakening and consciousness is all about, because again, at the end of the day, we are energy, and it's a mind thing. That's why, unfortunately, in school, I'm older, so it wasn't as bad as it is now. They take imagination out of the whole process. That's our communication vehicle with the universe, of how we actually manifest. That's how we actually create, by putting our desires onto the stage of our mind, our spirit guides and source and all that. Boom, put things in place for us, so then we can actually experience that thing that we imagined. But they've taken imagination away so that we can be like, get up, do this, go to buy this, you know what I'm saying? So to demystify and simplify this whole spiritual awakening, we are going to talk about that on a different video, because it is energy, and that's going to make even this process even easier, because you can really depersonalize. And when you realize thought forms, emotions, like everything is just literally energy. And some people, most of us, have been so asleep. We were so asleep, like intentionally and some other reasons, under a spell. And now that spell, as I don't know if you've been hearing this language, the veil has been lifted. Divine feminine energy is back. Them people, them dark folks, that's why they acting crazy, because they know their time is up. Because justice and redemption and all of that is back for balance and harmony. So everybody, and even that's going to be a process. So it ain't going to be like by the end of the year, nothing like that. But know that you are probably one of the chosen ones, which is why you're waking up and realizing, what in the hell is going on? And this is not working for me. So keep looking at yourself. Like I said, journal, go outside and put your feet in the ground, meditate, ask for help from your spirit guides, change your self-concept, because you're a powerful, pure consciousness, spirit being in a human body. You're not the body. You're not the mind. You're not even your thoughts. Those things were even given to you. You inherited a lot of belief systems. You inherited a lot of constructs. So get your shit back to whoever gave it to you, or put it someplace else. Alchemize it, transform it, redefine that thing, rewrite that thing for yourself, right? Traumas, I'm not ever going to belittle traumas, because those are the things that keeps us in such a dark space. But if you can depersonalize these traumas, and I'm saying this, you still got to heal yourself, and do not expect someone else to apologize enough, to feel bad enough, to validate you. It ain't gonna happen. And I'm saying it in the most loving way, so that you do not waste another moment. I'm trying not to cry right now. I don't want no one wasting another moment waiting for someone to apologize, to validate you, to tell you you were good enough, or to say, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have ever done that. There's not gonna fucking happen. It's not. And even when they do it, it don't even feel that good. Because I had to go people like, okay, now at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's at the end of the day, is how you were treating yourself and how you made yourself feel. So this is you. This is an inside job. Like I said, Matrix. He said, Neo say, you are the one. Like I said, it's a documentary. It seemed like a cruel ass damn game, but that's where we are now, y'all. Wake up. Is what you doing to yourself, the spell that you had to put yourself under to survive, to appease, so you don't get lost, so you don't feel abandoned, so you didn't feel like, any of those things. Okay, bring it back. Because this is why like I be taking my moments to do this video, because I'm like, that's where I am, y'all. I'm tired of people not feeling love. I've always been on this thing about authenticity. That's why I used to talk to young girls in schools and whatever around in the 5th grade, so I can kind of get to them before they start getting that shit put in their head about who they are not and what they're supposed to be. So this is not a new platform for me. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this. Be yourself. Even when I wasn't being myself for myself, I was doing this work. So, don't emotionally blackmail yourself. There is no way you should be. That goes back to the religion and the family and the morals. How do you actually feel? Be that. If you're sad, mad, whatever, go ahead and process that out or whatever, but don't make someone else responsible for it. And don't, like I said, don't look for somebody else to make you feel better about it. This is going to be your process. This is going to speed this whole thing up, right? Just really being aware and conscious of how you're thinking and feeling and how you got there, right? Like I said, don't be judging yourself on it. You have to nurture and cultivate your inner community with love, care, and grace. Oh, so that was what I was saying about eventually when you get past this, you will, and it will be necessary to forgive other people. You ain't got to talk to them. You just got to do it with, within yourself, even when they don't deserve it. You know what I mean? And you got to have grace, because you got to free your heart up, because this is our connection to God, our heart and our minds, right? And not the brain. A mind is something that you can't physically see. Again, energy. And because let me see, how deep am I go? I'm not going to go too many details. So over this past year, I went to a level of forgiveness that I never, ever, ever, as loving as I am, Miss Pisces, Moon, Pisces, Sun, I didn't even think I was going to be able to do it. But when I allowed, okay, let me not have a moment. When I allowed spirit, yeah, I was more in my spirit moment at this. I wasn't Carla. And that forgiveness came up. It was incredible, because I really had to think like, damn, for you to feel that bad, to do that to me, that has to be a fucked up feeling. And that was like a level of compassion that I didn't even think I had, right? That was the most freeing moment in my whole entire life. I want y'all to have that, because ain't nobody worth your peace. Nobody, not one person is worth your peace. And that's why I do what I do. I want people to be happy, whole, healthy, at peace, live at ease, tranquility, knowing who they are, their power, their strength from inside. It's not from the stuff we're doing and making, and no. It's our energy. What are we projecting? We are radio channels, signals, satellites, constantly transmitting and receiving constantly. This whole damn cell phone is based off of us. We're incredible. And unfortunately, we've been taught away from that, but we're incredible. We are powerful. We don't need none of this other stuff. And God is like bringing us back. Mama Universe is back. She like, Lord, my babies are down there out of control. I can't take it no more. And the veil has been lifted. So now you have one-on-one energetic frequency availability, accessibility to your own higher self for the first time. Like one-on-one. It's an energy game, and I need you to go and research everything I'm talking about. I ain't going to act like I'm an expert in none of this what I'm talking about. I need you to go do the research for yourself what I'm talking about. So as you doing this work, you will see it is energy. That's why they got the 5G and they changed the frequency of the music, because it's a mind control thing. They know how to make you feel a certain way. And the food is now literally programmed. They're manufacturing vegetables, not growing vegetables. You're manufacturing vegetables, y'all. So I'm saying it's real. And I'm not saying none of this to be like fearful, we got to go at war. I'm saying now take your power back with the awareness. Don't just keep it like, I know the information and it's just happening. No, we need everybody to show up. Turn that program off, unplug from that matrix, jump in on the other matrix where we are one. Remember, we are one. We are powerful from the inside out. Because right now, what's happening is, and this was a lot of that I had to come to realize, what we're dealing with affects our brains, our lymphatic systems, our endocrine systems, is dysregulated our nervous systems. So that's what we're dealing with out here, all of the crazy. And most of them are like, the crazy ones are the crazy ones because they're clones anyway. We ain't gonna get into all that. That's a whole nother thing. You know, they manufactured a bunch of shit. So they look like people around here. But then it's like the ones that, unfortunately, like, we call them schizophrenic. We call them bipolar. We call them all these things. And their just systems are just been dysregulated. They're just wired differently. And then they were forced to live and be in a certain way that is not even meant for, because I'm wired differently. I need to be outside most of the time. I need to be in natural lighting. I'm good at accounting and a whole bunch of stuff, and I can run offices and business. But if I'm sitting in the office and I don't have no natural lighting and that fluorescent light, after a few months, and it's proven in my work life, I just short circuit. I cannot do unnatural shit all the time. And I'm not good with the little routine either, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm saying that I started really having to respect. Because like I have a couple of my godsons, they're wired differently. And I'm like, don't mess with them. Leave them the way they are, because they're going to help us see how we're really supposed to be functioning. And now people realize like, oh shit, let me go Google something because they just told me something I don't know. Yeah, because they know something. See, and that was us, y'all. But we got it programmed down, indoctrinated out, whatever. But now, so don't mess with these kids if they sound like they got this energy, whatever, because they got information for us. They gonna help us to deprogram ourselves from the crazy. We need to be more like them. We need to be more like Spock. All this emotional stuff is cute or whatever, but it's keeping us. I can go on for some minutes. So yes, you know, your prefrontal cortex, all jacked up. You can't process stuff. Yeah, you can go to work, you can go to school, you can go to this, you can pay your bills, whatever. You can even do your business, but can you really do something beyond that from scratch? Most people can't because of that prefrontal cortex. I don't care how many degrees you had. It's science. Go research it yourself. So we don't even have access, like we're not even using all of our brain. Like I said, our nervous systems are off the chain right now. Lymphatic system. You ain't even cleansing out all the junk from the junk that you're putting in there, let alone just your natural. So it's causing all this inflammation and headaches and migraines and misery and depression and insomnia and you know, lip dicks and shit. I mean, as they call it, ED. And you know, it's just stuff, y'all. And we got to take our power back. And it's individual, it's an inside job. So at the end of the day, it's going to be about neutrality. You got to start unlearning. You got to, once you get through, you know, you start figuring out like, oh my God, this is what I've done to myself. And I love myself and I didn't mean this. And I forgive everybody. And we can keep going. It's like staying in that neutral place because it's going on, but you don't have to get involved just because it's going on. And you don't have to have a judgment. We ain't got to label it. That's when you're going to start regulating your nervous system and you realize, I don't have to. This is where Elevate the Good came from back in 2018. And I realized, I was doing my research and Dr. Bruce Lipton and neuroplasticity and realizing, oh my God, we can rewire our brains. And I was like, this is good news because I was in my 50s or whatever. And Elevate the Good, the universe, God, my source, higher self gave me this phrase. It's not something I came up with. It was a phrase and a mantra to get, like, I was noticing in the 70,000 thoughts we have all day, they say. Most of them are negative. So that's another thing while you're doing your little shadow work. Most of them are negative. Pay attention to your thoughts. They're subconscious. They're going on all day. Ooh, that's blue. That's cream. That's what I like. That I don't like that. That's up. That's down. Just constantly. And I finally started saying elevate the good because I was like, oh my God, what is? I don't want to have something to think about everything because it takes energy. Again, that was absorbing energy just to be. So that's why focus and discipline and concentration is so important because that builds up to your frequency. Because then you can bring that in because of the frequency. Man, this thing, I'm telling you, I'm about to have fun with y'all with this. All that to say, elevate the good was a mantra. Because I had to like elevate the good, and it's so funny. It's the first time I've had it like with on a shirt where it's more than once. Elevate the good, elevate the good, elevate. Like I literally had to come up with a whole thing to get myself out of a funky just mindset. I think I'm positive. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so not as positive as I thought I was. So energy intelligence, emotional intelligence. Again, these are going to be things I'm going to break down more specifically, but I think you kind of get it. I know y'all smart like that. Yeah, balance, temperance, staying neutral on stuff is going to be the way that you can master yourself. And that's what this game is about, self-mastery. This is where they pushed us to. This is how we came into the world. This is where they pushed us to. And then how do I get myself back to my true, authentic, pure consciousness? Because you're already pure consciousness. You're not trying to get to pure consciousness. You're already pure consciousness with a bunch of junk and stuff and layers that you've taken off of that. So you can think and see and function more clearly with a guidance and not just your human mind, which is going to keep you limited because your human mind can only function based on memory and the past and what is already done. It can't see the future. That's what we have spirit guides and all that stuff for. It cannot see the next step. So that's why you may feel like you're doing this because if you're thinking about it with your lower mind, not your higher mind, your lower mind, that's why you can't really make any progress. Higher mind, with your spirit guide, your higher self, your spirit self, yeah, you can do things differently because they have a broader perspective. But now the veil is lifted, we can embody more of the light, more of our spirit self. So we are more in touch with the broader view in this human experience. That's what this whole energy shift is about. So it won't be this disconnection. Again, remember the Wizard of Oz and they went behind the veil and then somebody was doing all that. It's you. You're doing it. That's the thing. Remember how Dorothy went home and was like, oh my God, it was her all along. She didn't think she was smart. She was like the what is it? It wasn't a bear. It was the what? Scarecrow and the lion or whatever. They really were her. All that. It's a stupid game, but we playing it right. Forgive me, universe. I didn't mean to call it stupid, but you know what I'm saying. Neutrality, energy intelligence, emotional intelligence, getting balanced, looking at all this from an energetic perspective. Don't take it personal because everybody under the same spell. And then the older they are, they probably ain't going to get out of it. So you really can't take that personal because they really don't know they in it. And they're going to still be doing and treating you some kind of way or whatever. And I talked to someone, my banker today, as a matter of fact, and we got all off into a conversation because that's what I do. And she was talking about her parent and about how, she wants to be more helpful when it comes to with her dad. I guess her dad has dementia, whatever, but her mom is treating her like, get out the way, I don't need you, whatever. And I was like, yeah, you just gonna have to let her be where she is because she still sees herself as the person who could do and whatever. Because my mom is the same way. So I just back it up. She 81. Okay, I'm back, y'all. My phone did die and I didn't change the lighting. We're going to go with this right now because I am going to wrap it up. All that to say, my mom's 81. She still sees herself as a 30-something years old. I mean, that's fine. That's cool, whatever. And she's relatively, active and good or whatever. But I have to let her be what her thing is. And I realize even with me breaking spells and some generational cycle stuff, from my perspective, I can't speak for the whole family. I'm talking about for me. And I know with spirit and why my purpose on the planet. And I've been doing it for a long time. And it's just like, wow, this really is happening. But all that to say, it's an inside job. I had to do it for me, which affects the energy field around me, friends, family, loves, on whoever is, attached to me. And the same way it would be for you. So you can only do you. You cannot be doing this work for anyone else. You cannot do this work and then expect other people to be where you are. Don't do this work and trying to press it upon people, meaning don't, become spiritually arrogant when you have your breakthroughs. Just be respectful, because we're just not having our breakthroughs and awakenings. And people have been saying this since the 50s, the 30s, the 70s, the 80s. Like, I lived in the age of Aquarius, likeness in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 79. It's like, shit, I know I'm a melanated hippie. I wanted to be one of them, but I was just too young, right? And, because that was I was hippie-ish in school, but I was like hiding my hippiness. Like, I'm just not realizing a lot of stuff. Like, I think I really was, I sure did. But anyway, just be kind to yourself, journal, go out in nature. You got to reconnect in nature. Go, like I say, go to YouTube, do some sound therapies, Google, do the YouTube and look at to calm your vagus nerve or your lymphatic system, or, reconnecting with your spirit guides. Just there are different frequencies you can go to sleep to. Also binaural beats, subliminal messages and mantras if you need to start getting that positivity, because it makes a difference. Because repetition clearly makes a difference. That's why they did it in school. So now do it for your life. Do it for your spirit. Do it for your purpose. Do it with the information that you want to be operating on, right? It's never too late. So I don't care what age you are. So I don't want that has nothing to do with it. I don't care what traumas, dramas, careers, whatever. It's never too late. Never. That's the whole thing, because it's energy. You can start tomorrow, literally. We're on different timelines at all times. Everything. There is no past. There is no future. Everything is happening at the same time. So you got to get to know how to do your instruments so you can understand what that really means. I'm just saying. The game is real. I'm going to show y'all some stuff for you back. Y'all just keep checking in with Elevate the Good. We're about to have some fun. So anyway, and again, it's not about us against them. And the whole thing, this whole system right now makes us feel like we're separate. It's one big old pool, and we literally are connected to each other, right? So it's really about coming back to our oneness and knowing that you're part of the one. So if we do know that we're part of the one, what I do affects you, and what you do affects me. That makes us operate a little bit different, right? On a little peace, light, and love thing, right? What about that? So be peace, light, and love for yourself first, so you'll be able to project that, and then learn how to receive it, because some of us just don't even know how to receive love and kindness and all that stuff, Learn how to tap into your intuition. I'm trying to wrap the video up, so I will be going having shorter videos talking about these kind of things, but tap into your intuition. Your intuition is your superpower. That is the connection to the Most High. That is you'd be like, get that little nudge, but now go bigger with them nudges. Because, it's a lot going on in this invisible realm that right around us right now. They're trying to get our attention, but we just haven't tapped into those senses. Like, how animals have those six senses, or it seems like six senses when they know a storm is coming up. We have that. We just got it. We just got disconnected from it, and that's what we're tapping back into. Okay. Like I said, take a device fast. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just stay off social media for a minute. No media, meditate, ground, do some journaling. Definitely, like I said, you need to be in nature, because nature is teaching us who we really are, because we got disconnected from that. And that does include astrology and all the things, the stars and the moon and sun. All this stuff matters, because we're water. So if the moon moves the ocean, why wouldn't you think the moon don't move water within us? And we're stars and sun. So why wouldn't the placements matter? Oh, okay. I'm just saying, we're going to be talking about some stuff. So know that I love you. We are going to, meaning I am going to post, because I have it here, a new video specifically demystifying and simplifying the whole spiritual awakening, the whole consciousness game. And I mean game in the awareness, because you hear all these Kundalini awakening and all this other stuff. So we're going to talk about that. I'm actually going to bring in some friends. This is what they do in terms of energy work. And like I said, it is all a mental game. So you got to get control of your mind. And you are the master of the mind. The mind is only needed when it's like, I need a particular task done that I trained it because I read these books. Let me go get the information. Not the mind is how it's running your life and you becoming creative and creating things. That's what we think we're doing. It's a whole nother thing. And then the subconscious mind, that's where the real deal is. What are those subliminal messages that you've been telling yourself? That's what you got to start paying attention to. And then reprogram yourself for what you do want. Right? So, know that I love you. You're not by yourself. You're not going crazy. It seems unfair. Chosen ones, I know since the beginning of time, you feel like you've been on the up. We've been positive. We just want everybody to have love. We've been empathetic. We've been, mistreated. We've been like I said, we're naive and disrespecting and whatever. And it's like, but now is our time. You remember like the Revenge of the Nerds? Okay, I'm telling my age now, but some of y'all might not get this. But Revenge of the Nerds was a movie back in the 80s. I want to say, right? Yeah. Back in the 80s. Well, we're living in these last 35, 40 years. We've been living the actual Revenge of the Nerds. And the nerds back in the day were the ones they were, beat up, bullied, thrown in the lockers, disrespected, whatever. Now, for the last 40 years, Revenge of the Nerds, because they got all the computer and technology stuff, so they've been running us. So now it's about to be revenge. Really with love, though, of divine feminine. Because we're about to come back through the chosen ones. We're on this planet, and now is our time that you've always known. Like, you were here to do something. Like I said, to break some cycles. To enlighten, because I've always well, why are you doing it like this? It's got to be an easier way. I know I'm magical. Why I'm doing it? And it's like, now it makes sense. We are magical. And now it's the time for us to claim our power, claim our inheritance, claim our reward. And we are going to embody justice, balance, and harmony, and grace and forgiveness. That's the part. And you're going to be shocked. You're going to actually be able to do it. At this point in the game, you may not feel like you ever, because I didn't think I was ever going to be able to feel this way. So I guess that's the point of this. Thank you, Spirit. I am evidence that you will get to the other side. You won't always be angry and rageful and bitter and resentful and want to kick a motherfucker in the throat. Not all the time. I'm just saying. It ain't always love and light, but I'm saying you can't get to the other side, right? All right. Elevate the good, elevate the good, elevate the good, elevate the good. Think the good, do the good, be the good, live the good. All things good. All you got to do is just be yourself. Who do you think you are? I love you. Bye. You got this. You got this.